What's up, boys and girls? Just getting quite a few hours in now on my new RXP. Really enjoying the thing. I just want to talk about some adjustments that can be made to these when you own one. You've obviously got the factory risers, but I want to talk about the sponsons. So first of all, if you don't know what the sponsons are, these are the sponsons. And you'll notice that if you own one of these, you have three selections here to pick from. You got race, you got sport, and you have free ride. So when I first bought this machine, it was on free ride. And what I noticed is with the machine on free ride, when you're making high-speed corners, the nose tends to dip. If you guys have watched my other videos on this machine, I did a real good demonstration of it in the one video, how when you're making corners, the nose tips into the water and the spray tends to come up over the front of the machine, hit you directly in the face, which isn't really ideal, right? So after the first few runs, we brought it home, and I thought, well, let's jump right up to race. So I went from free ride to race. Now the funny thing is you'll notice on race, it's driving this sponson down, and the sponson has this wing onto it here to hit off the water, which, from what I've learned, this is basically your stability of the machine to an extent. So when I had this set on race, which is number 3, what I actually noticed was the machine's slower because the sponsons are deeper, they're dragging in the water more. So I found that once I get up to about 105, 106 kilometers an hour, that to get the last little bit out of it, you needed quite a bit more extra water, as in distance in front of you. So even though they class the top setting as race, I found the machine is actually faster when it's on free ride because the sponson isn't digging into the water as bad. What I will say, when you have it set on race, you can really get heavy on the throttle on this thing, and you can really do some high-speed maneuvering, and the machine stays extremely stable. It doesn't feel like you're going to get thrown off it. When you do that same type of driving on free ride, when you start getting up like 55 mile an hour plus and doing cornering, it actually feels like the machine will just rip right out from underneath you and you'll go flying if you want to crank on the handlebars. So I mean, it when you're turning with it on race, it feels better on your body and your brain. You don't feel like you're going to go flying off it. It's more stable, but it's also more draggy. So the other day at the lake, I said, well, I didn't really care for the drag on the top end, but I don't like the whippiness feeling, you know, at 55 mile an hour plus when you're trying to do aggressive cornering. So yesterday we went back to the lake and I got to try it on sport for a bit. And sport is basically the best of both worlds. With it on race and sport, I don't get the spray off the nose up into my face, so that's much nicer. With it on race, so if you want to play around, it takes that playability out of it. Like if you like doing the 180 top spins on the water and all that foolishness, I'd suggest stick with sport or free ride. But I will say I was very disappointed that they class this as race and it actually slows the machine down due to the drag off of the sponson. But that being said, if you were on an enclosed buoy course, you know, an obstacle course on water that you weren't straight lining it a whole lot, race gives you that major stability that you can, you know, even when you cut it and crank it, the machine only cuts so hard, if you will, where if you got it on free ride and you give it a cut in the jam, you're probably not going to be staying on the thing. You're probably going to be in the water behind it, or possibly bounce off the backboard. So, believe it or not, even though we've only got roughly, say, 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches of adjustment on these sponsons, it actually makes an incredible difference in the way this machine behaves. Almost unbelievable when you play with them and you see it for yourself. But I think for now I'm gonna stick to sports, and I might try it on free ride again, but race is no good for me. I didn't like the drag in the water. So if you know, if I'm ever in a situation that I can put it on a buoy course, or if I get to race with other people and we set up a buoy course, then I might go with this race setting just for the stability when making the high-speed cornering. But that being said, the machine is totally stable. I mean, I'm used to driving that old thing down there, 200 horsepower. Hull isn't a real great design. No adjustment in sponsons, so this has been a huge step up. But I see a lot of people, Riva Racing offers this piece, and it's aluminum, and it's apparently a much better design, much better thing. So maybe in the future I'll spend the money and get it. I think my next mod for this machine is going to be the intake grate underneath. I've already got the SCOM ordered so we can see what kind of top speed I can hit. I'm a pretty light rider, I'm not a heavy guy, so a lot of the guys that are doing the speed runs and stuff on these things, where I only weigh like 155 pounds, I should be able to hopefully see the better end of the numbers on this machine. But I gotta say, totally unbelievable how much that little bit of adjustment can change the ride and the way the machine behaves, especially at the higher speeds. So my suggestion, if you like doing a little bit of every kind of riding, probably set it in the middle on sport. But again, free ride is extremely fun. It just feels really whippy when you're onto it.